Good night, America. It's time for your news by the numbers, and tonight's number is 1 for $1. 3 years ago, McDonald's, the Golden Arches, the home of the Big Mac, announced it would begin paying all employees at corporate-owned stores in the U.S. at least $1 above the local minimum wage. This week, hundreds of workers across the country are claiming that the fast food giant has not kept its promise. Yes, indeed, America, it is true. It looks like our latest bad actor is none other than McDonald's. The initial announcement was made in 2015 after a stir of high-profile labor protests began to put pressure on the company. McDonald's joined a chorus of other companies, including Walmart, Burger King, and the list goes on and on and on about saying they were going to raise their wages for their workers. But fast forward to 2018, here's what we know. McDonald's employees are calling the raise a one-time bump and the promise a publicity stunt. And it looks like McDonald's America is this week's bad actor. Yes, indeed, America, it is true. In the past month, workers' pay stubs in the 3 major metropolitan areas where the company has a large number of corporate stores show cooks and cashiers have been paid less than the $1 above the local minimum wage that they were promised by the corporation. Now remember, McDonald's is one of those corporations that benefited from the Trump tax cut to the tune of a couple million dollars, almost $1 billion they benefited in this tax giveaway. And they promised America, they promised the world that they would raise the wages for their workers. Yet, when you look at the evidence, America, you find out that McDonald's, just like so many other corporate bad actors, was just straight lying. They were straight lying to the American people. So remember, this all started because of the Fight for 15, which was a 6-year effort led by the Service Employees International Union, also known as SEIU, to organize fast food workers and secure a living wage and better laws for these workers. Now, the Fight for 15 wasn't a very successful campaign, because what ended up happening as a result of the Fight for 15 is that many municipalities decided to raise their minimum wage. So state after state, city after city, county after county decided to make the right choice and raise their minimum wage. Why? Because they understood this, that when you raise the wages of the working class, you benefit the entire community. Now, there's some that say, oh, when you raise wages, you stagnate the economy, you hurt the poor. This is all a farce, and this is a lie. Right? Because every time we in this country have raised the minimum wage, we've only seen our economy grow. Okay? We've only seen our economy continue to grow. Now, the one example that you see people like to point out is the last time we as the federal government raised the minimum wage was in 2006. Now, Republicans like to say, oh, well, we had the Great Recession in 2008, but that wasn't caused because we raised the minimum wage in 2006. That was caused because we deregulated banks. Right, and banks decided to package mortgages, and they decided to sell subprime mortgages. But, truth be told, one of the reasons why we were able, I would argue, we were able to get out of the Great Recession was because we had a higher minimum wage to begin with. So when the president began to sort of pump the economy, when he got the economy going and he passed the executive order to raise wages for government contractors, and he started to sort of raise wages for government workers, these steps were immediately met with pumping the economy, and here's why. It's something called the money multiplier. For every $1 that you put into our economy, you generate another $3 or $4 right away, especially when you give it to the most vulnerable Americans, because they have the highest propensity to spend money. Now, the other argument that you hear from folks is, oh, well, McDonald's jobs are for high school students, but that is a relic of the past. Sadly, we now live in a society where there's far too many working families that depend on McDonald's paychecks to make ends meet each and every day. right? They depend on the McDonald's paycheck to pay for school uniforms. They depend on the McDonald's paycheck for groceries. They depend on the McDonald's paycheck to make sure that they have a roof over their head and food on their table. So we've really got to have a conversation with ourselves, and we've got to call out bad actors like McDonald's every time they engage in bad behavior like this one. Burger chains like McDonald's are facing a record high turnover as workers depart for better job options in a tightening labor market. Last year, McDonald's lagged behind their peers like Wendy's and McDonald's when it comes to average drive-through times. And on top of that, America, on top of that, they try to put these commercials up of how they have scholarships and they're helping, and I think that's great. But what they really got to do is, because they're making millions of dollars in profits, is they really got to look out for their workers a little bit better.